Hello and welcome to this, our second in the new series of training courses looking at security administration. Today we're dealing with creating and using user templates. And this is building up to where we'll be looking at the creation of user records, understanding all of the settings that are within the control of the user, and going on then to look at the rest of the administration of a user's experience within Sage CRM. So this is one of these starting early courses, and it's all about how to create a new user template to speed up the ad hoc creation of new users within a system. And in fact, it's not just ad hoc. So we're going to be looking at user templates in Sage CRM, what they are, why they matter, and how you use them to make user management faster, more consistent, and less error-prone. So very much we're going to see that user templates are a system administrator's tool. They allow us to define a standard starting point for different types of users, such as sales users, customer service agents, or even marketing users, and then whatever categories that we might have of users, and then reuse that setup every time when new users are added into the system. This lesson and all the other lessons are going to be recorded and made available on the Sage Support and Training YouTube channel. I've given you there a link to the channel and also to the specific class that the videos will be added to. The existing videos there are old videos which will gradually be replaced during this re-recording of the training event. But let's have a look at why user templates matter. Well, without user templates, every new user would have to be set up manually. That means that we have to go through the decision making around which teams to put them into, which security territories to use, which security profiles to use, and then going through selecting all of the appropriate preferences, and even including the types of license types that have to be used. That's whether we are assuming that we're creating a template that is going to be appropriate for all concurrent users, or a particular type of user you may want as a named user. User templates solve this problem by really speeding up the user creation and ensuring consistent security and access rights. And it allows us to reduce mistakes during setup. It also, although this lesson is not really about the bulk imports, but it does support bulk user creation as well, including user imports that take place from across, for example, the Entra or Active Directory import. So think of a user template as a starting blueprint, but it's not actually a locked rule set, as we'll see. So where user templates are used? Well, they're used in two main places. First, we'll see this, and this is the main exercise that we're doing today, is looking at when we're creating users manually. This is when this is where we can select the template that we're going to create now to help assist the process of setting up a user. But it's also used during user imports, for example, when importing users from Entra or Active Directory. And in this case, the selected template is applied automatically to all the set of users that are being imported, and it ensures consistency across the batch. So it allows you to support import all of your sales users, all of your customer service users, etc. Now, to show you what we're doing, we have to log on into the system, and here you can see I've just switched over to Sage CRM, and I'm going to go through and log on as the system administrator. And here you can see my dashboard has just come up. I'm going to go into administration, And I've now arrived over in the administration screens with inside Sage CRM. So I'm going to select the users area from this landing area. Note, and here you can see that I've come into users, but note that this is where you're able to make use of a user template, either through the import users feature or, as you can see here, the new user feature. And there are separate courses covering those topics within the support training and YouTube channels that we have. So to start creating a new template, I'm going to choose user templates. And this is a search screen. From here, this is basic search screen, allows us to search obviously for the existing templates. Once we have those up on the screen, we can then edit them, or we can go through and we can create new templates. You can see there the new button, or once we're inside a template, we can then delete templates that are no longer needed. So I want to search for what existing templates exist inside the system. So I'm just going to click find. And you can see that in my demo system, I have some example templates. And you'll notice one of those happens also to be called the default user template. Now, I installed Sage CRM using the demo data, so that's why I've got 4 different example user templates set up. But if you installed without demo data, you'd still have the default user template. So every CRM system includes a default user template. You can't delete this template, but you can edit it. And this means that any changes you make onto the default template becomes the baseline for all new templates and users. And in practice, once you've made a change to the default template, most administrators will leave that default template fairly neutral, but then create role-specific templates for different user groups. Now, I'm going to start creating my own template now. So I'm just going to click the new button. And you can see that I've got an entry screen here. And I need to, well, I'm being asked whether I want to choose an existing template to base our new template on. So this would normally be the default user template or another role that is similar. So I want to create here a template for a European sales engineer. So I could have used an existing sales rep template, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go from scratch. And so what I'm going to do is just fill in some details. I've filled in the template name. And if you look across at the other choices that we can make here about primary team and about the license type and the security territory, well, you'll notice here that these are all things that I can set. So if this is a European sales engineer, I'm setting up my home territory to be Europe with then primary role to be direct sales. A little bit later on, we can choose other options once we click choose to continue. And straight away, we're on a screen that may well be familiar to you if you have already created users inside the system, because this is a screen that ultimately is very similar to the default user creation screens. And it's here where we can go and choose other options, whether the user has administration rights or you fill in the details of the security profile, all of these things. Now, there are some points to remember or understand here, which is user templates are not inheritance models. So if you were to change the template, it doesn't rechange all of the users that were based on that template. So there's no permanent enforcing of settings on users. It literally is, it's a cookie cutter that creates a stamp to for the initial creation of that record. So it's populating default values into this screen, which we can then change. If they're applied, everything can still be changed later on in the individual user record. There's no fixed inheritance from the template. And I've gone through, and you can see that I can choose additional information here as well. I can choose the display teams, I can choose the forecasting currency, and I can also look down at the different security options that I need to make. So, for example, I've chosen the security profile, which is sales rep profile. I could have really, if I'd thought of it, I could be changing the fact that this is a sales engineer. I could give this particular type of user, based on this template, rights over solutions as well. But I've kept the inherited security profile. I could switch to an existing profile, or I could change all sorts of things. All of these rights are copied to the user when it's created, but they can be overwritten later on. So you drift away from what were the original template settings. Templates also allow us, as we click to go on to the next screen, when we're now looking at the third page, we're now able to look at the preset user preferences. So that's considering that the language that the user is using, the currency, the time zone, the notification, default screens and views that are used at different circumstances. These are all preferences that users can normally change themselves, but by setting them in the template, it ensures that users start with sensible options based on their role and location. Now, I've just gone through all of those screens, 3 screens involved in the creation of a user template. So I just need to click here now to save and confirm the creation of this new user template. And you'll see that I've just been returned back to that first screen. So to see my new template, all I have to do is to click Find, and it's now listed out. And I can see my new European sales engineer profile that has been created inside Sage CRM. I can also see on this Find screen that I can see that I could search for templates linked to a security environment. So I can think about who are users that have similar or the same security rights. And I can even search on the basis of the team that are associated, the users within a particular team. So I just happen to be interested in the idea of the profile. And so I'm going to look for all of those that match a particular security profile. In this case, this is my sales rep profile. And so if I click Find, we can see that this is narrowing down my search for the user templates to show me just those 2, my newly created sales engineer, but also the existing sales rep profile. So this is what I'm trying to get across, is that the user template is very much firmly linked to the security and access rights that are defined through the security profiles. But let's see how then we go ahead and use this user template. So I've just clicked out up a level, so you can see that what I did was clicked on the cookie trail or the crumb trail to go back up onto the users area. So it's administration users, and here I'm going to click on new user up in the top towards the top left of the central panel, and I can start to use this. Now, once a user template has been created, it's immediately available. So I know my template is there. And so I can select it from the drop-down list. I can then go ahead and enter the other details that I want. But notice that there are some things that have been inherited automatically that have come across because I've chosen the template. By choosing the template, a lot of things get given to us straight away. And it's filled in basically the teams, territory, license, and security. Now I can review these. I can change this if I don't like it. I can give my user a name, which I have to do, Brian Jones, as you can see here, and I filled in the rest of this initial screen. The template information will have been inherited as well. So as I click to the next screen, we're filling in the remaining information that we might need, and options that you see here will also have been carried across from the template. But again, I can override these. So here I can click Save, and I have my new user. So basically what I'm able to do is create now a user essentially with a very minimal amount of information, essentially the unique identifiers for that user, but then click, 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 and they will have inherited everything else from the user template. This shows how it speeds up the creation of the user. So we're just about finished about what I wanted to say, but to summarize this, what we've seen is that user templates standardize the user setup. They save time and they reduce configuration errors. And they are there to apply to both manual user creation and user imports. And so the job of the templates is to provide a starting point. They're not fixed rules. And if we have a set of templates which are well designed, then it makes Sage CRM easier to manage at scale. So I hope that that's been of use to you as we understood how to create and use user templates inside Sage CRM. We're going to follow this up in our next lesson next week by looking at the process of creating and editing a user and understanding where we can override any of the items declared within the template, but going through that process of defining our user. Let's see, does anyone have any questions at this point? Well, if there are no questions, I will say thank you so much for joining me today.